Hello friends, this is Cara-Renee with B.Reborn Art and Healing, coming to you with a tutorial. I am a little bit rusty in my mixed media of late, so I hope that you'll be patient with me. I'm also not well, as you guys know if you've been following me. I have surgery in 5 days, count it, 5 days. I am so glad. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be working with some digitals, and we're going to be transforming them a little bit into some mixed media pages for inside of the Grungy B journal. That is the goal. So let me talk to you a minute about what we're planning to do, and I'll show you the supplies and then we'll get going. So this is a digital from Sweet Pea Curiosities. I believe it is in her Angels, her Grungy Angels kit. I will be sure to link everything below. So what I did is I just printed this on standard copy paper, well, white copy paper basically. That'll make more sense in a second. It's 65-pound paper because it is mixed media. It is going to be a mixed media page, so I want it to have some durability. And what I did is I used my Ranger or Tim Holtz Distress Collage Medium in Vintage. I tried to order some more of this morning and I can't find it anywhere, so I'm not sure. I may have to go to a local craft store and see if I can locate it. But this is really awesome, and it gave this really grungy look. So let me show you what one looks like without it. So this is another page from the digital, so you can see the difference. And the difference is just the collage medium, that vintage collage medium. So that's going to be epic. So what we're going to be doing with all of these is we're going to be adding some stamping, some texture, and we're going to be using fluid or transparent, golden transparent high flow acrylic. So you see this this color here with the lines, the black lines. This shows the transparency. Yellow is generally a very opaque color, but I want yellow in these projects, so I'm going to use the high flow. The transparency of this is amazing for a yellow color. So we're going to be using that yellow. We're going to be mixing this phthalo green blue shade with some yellow to get more of a teal color. This is a little bit too vibrant for my liking. I don't know if you guys can see. Well, you can see it on the label. But again, very, very transparent. So we've got that, and then we've got transparent brown oxide. Same thing, very, very transparent. I'm choosing to do that because I want to be able to see some of the stuff underneath, and that's going to allow us to do that. I did also pull some sap green hue. This is also a transparent high flow. You can see it's not as opaque. It is more opaque. Come on, focus, camera. Come on. I'm not sure why it's not focusing, you guys. I'm so sorry. It's not as opaque, so we'll be a little bit less heavy-handed with that. And then some dioxazine purple, again, very, very transparent. This stuff goes a long way, guys, so if you want to invest in something to get that acrylic, more transparent look, I would highly recommend these. I've got my clear gesso. We're not going to be doing the gessoing on camera, but I wanted to show you on the other two pages what I did prior to turning the camera on. So we'll talk about that in a second. I've got my Liquitex flexible modeling paste to do some texturizing. I'm hoping to add a little bit of color to this. We'll see how that goes. So again, this is already ready to go. It's a little bit shiny, which I didn't kind of expect, but that is okay. That is all dry, so I'm excited about that. And then this is another image from another digital creator, and I will again link it. Isn't this absolutely stunning? It is beautiful as it is, but I wanted to do something a little bit different with this journal. It is my Grungy B journal, so I want to add a lot more layers and texture into my processes for this journal. So we're going to be adding some of these colors. We're going to be able to see a lot of this that's already here, but we're going to bring in some more colors just to add some interest. I'm not sure how I'm going to use this. This might be a journal page because it is split, and we'll just have it be 2 journal pages. We'll see how it goes when I get to that point. I am trying to get revved up to really, really head into making this journal. I'm waiting until I feel better to really do the deep dive. So that's that. This is another digital from another creator. I will again link it. This I printed black and white. So I love that. I'm excited to see what this is going to look like. You will see, I did zap it with my heat tool because I have an inkjet printer, and it doesn't take much, but sometimes it's not very effective. So you can see I've got some color bleed here, but that's going to be covered up. So the clear gesso I used on both of these papers. So I gave it a good coat of clear gesso, and what that does, it's going to protect the base, it's going to allow me to layer up, and it creates a tooth to the paper that allows the mediums to really stick as well as the other texture. But isn't this beautiful? I'm not sure what I'll do with that. I might do like a side tuck or something when we get to that point in the journal making process. But those are our 3 pages. We'll see how far we get. Let me talk to you a little bit about the supplies. So I pulled out my color wheel because I wanted to kind of look at what did I need to do to create that kind of more tealish blue-green color. And so we need green and yellow. Now we're not working with a true green, we're working with a different tone, but I'm hoping that that's going to work. So this is really handy if you want to make sure that you're not going to make mud by mixing certain colors together if you're new to that skill. So I'm just going to set that aside. I've got my black archival ink, my vintage photo archival ink, as well as the sponges that go with those. I have some stamps. I thought we'd do a little bit of stamping. These are just my grab and go stamps I love to use just really quickly. And then I've got some stencils. So these are both from Tim Holtz. I pulled both of these, but I like this one as well because it's got the little dots. So we'll be playing around with that as well. And then these are a couple of my Sean Petit stencils because I thought it would be fun to bring in some text with, the texture paste. So that being said, I do need to, before we get started, I will reach behind me and grab my raw umber fluid acrylic because we will probably be doing a raw umber glaze to really vintage everything up, including making sure that our texture paste does not stay white. So I don't like that in this kind of project. So we've got that one. I'm not sure which one I'll use. I love this script, but it's kind of it's got a little bit of a hole in that texture, not a bit, or in that stencil, not a big deal. I also love this one. You can't see it very well because I've used it so much, and this is really nice too, just kind of this block text. So we'll see where we land with that. And then I love this stencil, so I thought we would introduce it as well. So I'm just going to set that stuff aside. I'm going to grab my towel so that I can make haste with cleanup here on my lap. And I'm going to reach behind me and grab my raw umber and my fluid matte medium, and I'll talk to you about that in a second. And I want to talk with you just a moment about how a glaze works. So the way you get so what a glaze does is it is also a transparent layer, and what it allows you to do is once you mix this mixture, which is 1 part paint to 2 parts of I'm currently using matte medium. You can also use a glazing medium. It's a little bit more expensive, so I've shifted to the matte medium. So 2 parts of this to 1 part of this. You mix it up just on your mat, and then you brush it all over the design where you want it, and then you use a baby wipe and you wipe it up, and basically it pulls that color back up off of areas that you don't want it, while it leaves the brown where you do want it. So let me show you a sampling that I did. This is one that I did with the raw umber glaze. So this was also an already printed in color digital from the same maker. I came in with some gold texture paste. I stamped over it once it was dry with a text stamp. And then, but before I did all that, I did a raw umber glaze. I don't know if you guys can see the depth of darkness around and just that really vintage look all over that base. So that's kind of the look that we're going for. I'll probably use this in the journal as a side tuck or something. I'm not sure. Yeah, I just was playing around, wanted to get a good idea. This is another one that I did, bringing in some purple and some really bright teal. So this was actually acrylic paint, I believe, just regular craft acrylic. So you don't have to have the transparent, but it does help you to see more of what's on the base. These digitals are absolutely beautiful. If you look at the beautiful detail of things that she created in the background are just absolutely phenomenal. Look at all that detail. And so I want to be able to retain as much of that as I can. So let me stop yapping and get going. I'm going to leave my white border on because it doesn't really matter at this point. I can trim it off later. I'm just going to try to get that to lay a little bit flatter if I can. I'll do that with all of them. Okay. And I've got my mat here just to protect my glass top here. And I think what we're going to do here is we're going to start with some stamping, and then we'll go from there. I'm debating on, you know what, I think I might want to start with this one. Sorry for the change. No, you know what, we're going to start with the white one. This was the one I was most excited about. So it's got a little bit of script, but I want to add a little bit more detail here. So let me get out my black archival ink. And I do not like getting black archival ink on my hands because it takes forever to get it off. So I'm just going to reach and grab some gloves here. I'm generally not, you know, my hands wash up really good with normal stuff, but for some reason the black archival ink is just a beast as far as getting it off of your hands and off of your nails. So give me a second. We're already 11 minutes in and we haven't done anything. My apologies. So I am going to grab this text stamp because it's just small, and we're just going to do a little bit of stamping. You can do as little or as much stamping as you like. I do want to get some on the wings here a little bit. It's a little bit crooked, which I generally try to avoid, but again, I'm not at the height of able to really track detail currently. So let me just put a little bit more up there. Okay. I'm not even looking at the camera. I didn't realize I was kind of off screen there. So I think I'm going to go in with a little bit of other stuff, like maybe these little dots. I used to store my stamps like close to the floor, and this one got all melted from the heater. So let's just use it. I think it's fun. So let's just put that here and there as well. Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. In fact, I think I might bring over the other ones just to kind of do this more in assembly line fashion. That will help us move through things a little bit quicker, I think. And I think that is a good amount of circles, dots. So I feel okay about that, like it is. So let's bring this one over and do the same. I think with this one, I'm going to use my vintage photo because I think I want to keep it a little bit more, this is going to be a simpler project because it doesn't have an image, right? So it's going to look different, but that's okay. So I am going to grab, see if I've got another stamp. So I don't have to clean that stamp. I'm kind of feeling lazy right now. So I've got this one, and let's see if we can find another bit of script. Oh, we've got script there. I meant the dots. I'm going to have to clean that stencil. Hold on. That's okay. I mean, it's archival ink, so it generally mostly comes off onto the paper, and that just stains the stamp. Okay, there we go. Alrighty. Give that a dry. I need a paper towel. Oh, I've got my towel here. I'll just use that. So I'm working hard to get some content out on the channel so that it plays while I'm recovering from my surgery, which I am super excited about. I think, you know what, I might skip the dots on that. I like the numbers, so let's try the numbers instead on this one. We might come in with other things as well. I'm going to try to be a little bit straighter with this. Let's see how it goes. Oh, I love that. Love it, love it. I love numbers in my mixed media. Really, really love it. I try not to go too overboard. Sometimes I still do, but just trying to keep it simple. Okay, that's that. And I think I'll add a little bit of script to this one as well, but I'm going to use this stamp, which is one of my favorites. It's I believe this is from Penny Black. Penny Black. So it's very, very well used, as you can see. Oh, that didn't even show up. What's the deal? What's the deal? That's better. I love the subtlety of this stamp on this this project. It's going to be good. We just want a little bit of interest, more interest in the background, even though this digital is absolutely amazing. Love it. Okay. We're going to be good on that one. So we got one more. I don't know how much we want to do on this one because it already has quite a bit going on. I think I'll come in with the circle stamp and my black archival ink again. We might come in with some letters on this one, some alphabet. Let's see. Oh yeah. Good choice, Cara-Renee. That was a little bit rough and go. It's okay. We're not looking for perfection ever in the studio. It's not a lazy statement, it's a freedom statement, you guys. Sometimes if you have a tendency towards being more perfectionistic about your work, it can hinder your creativity. Now, that is not a judgment in any way, because some people, I watch Yvonne and over on YouTube, and she is very meticulous, and I think she has to honor that as well in terms of like what her style is and what she's looking for in her creative process. So it's not like this is the only way you can do it and you have to, you know, let go of stuff. You don't. This is just what I've learned, and I found that it frees my creativity when I just when I remind myself that I don't have to be perfect. So, oh, I love that. And that is just right. So I'm going to set all of these stamps aside and get rid of these things in my way. And we're going to go back to the to this one and start with it. So this, it may be a little bit longer video. I'll try to speed up what I can, but I hope that it won't be too long for you. You can also, I'm going to take those off. You can also speed it up using the gears in the YouTube settings area. So let's see what we're doing now. Let's go with some, I think this one I'm just going to do some straight up stenciling. So I'm going to use my flexible modeling paste, and I think I'll bring in one of these Sean Petit stencils here. Actually, I think I want the script on this one. Let's see if I've got something that's speaking to me here. So, I really, really like this. I'm going to go for it. So let me find, oh, I didn't pull a palette knife down. Hold on one second. I just have to reach up here over the camera a little bit. Let's see if we can find a couple. Here we go. All of my reaching supplies are like right in front of me, so I have to be careful to not body block the video. So, I wish I had pulled down another script. You know what? I'm going to pause a second. I'm not sure that I really love this one for this project, so hold on. Okay, so I'm glad that I did that, because I always forget about all of the beautiful stencils that I have that are a little bit smaller. Look at that. Isn't that crazy creative? And then this one is a ledger. I'm inclined to go with this, but I also want it to be pretty succinct. So this is the Art Is stencil. It's a very, very popular one. So I think we'll use that one. And then I also have this one I might introduce into something. So let's get this out of the way. And the only reason I'm not a big fan of this block script and or this, so this wasn't necessarily one that was my favorite to pull. So let's go ahead and get going here. You want to not have too much on your palette knife of that modeling paste. So I am going to I don't do it everywhere, and I don't use the entire stencil in one place. So I'm just going to turn this a little bit for my own ease, and I'm just going to go for it. And you can make your own modeling paste. Because I was more of a professional mixed media artist, I didn't like it. I didn't like the way it performed, so I don't typically use it, but I have done it before. So, oh, that's so cool. Love it. Love it. Okay, so let's go over here and do a little bit more just in this corner. More in the corner here. Just trying to see if it's straight. If I can make it straight, that's good. I didn't follow my own rules there. I didn't really scrape that off very well, but that's okay. And I like to go in threes, so I think I'm going to come up here and do just a smidge up here at the top. And that's just the rule of thirds. Is about the placement of your focal image, but it also applies to, for me anyway, it applies to how many elements I add of the same type. So hopefully that makes sense. So we're going to go ahead and just do a little bit at the top here. And I wish I brought a bucket of water in here, but I did not. I used to keep one in here all the time, but I haven't been doing mixed media as much as I used to. There we go. So we're going to pull that up, and I think I'm just going to wipe it off here with a baby wipe just for now. I don't tend to clean my stencils great, especially when it's ink and stuff, but the modeling paste will ruin your stencils. So I'm just going to set that over there. Okay, so this one, I think we're going to set this aside and let it dry before we move on to the next step on that one. So let's pull over this one. And we're going to work with some inks first. I need to wipe the palette knife off and then move on here. Cap up that for now. Okay, so we're going to start with some inks, which I probably need my gloves again. I don't know. Let's just go with it. So I want to get some color on here now. So I think I'm going to start with some of the yellow and the green to make a more of a teal. So I'm just reaching over here to grab more water. My other water bottle is empty. I don't know where my Tim Holtz one is. Oh, there it is. That's better. This one holds more water. So I'm going to start by spraying this with water, and then I'm going to open this. You want to shake it. Can you hear that ball? So you want to make sure that you shake them. I think I'm going to start with the yellow because I can control the green a little bit more, I think. So I'm just going to spritz it on here. Oops, are you clogged up? Okay, like that. Spray it again. Get it to kind of move around a little bit. Let it run. You can just pick it up, tip it. Okay, that's good. And then we're going to do this as well. Hopefully I'm going to get a blend here. Oops, are we plugged up? Oh. This is a very staining color, this green. So hopefully we get a little bit of a blend here so that we don't have, it's not quite so bright. Yeah, we're getting it there. So let me just let that run a little bit. That's really pretty. Oh, I love how that color turned out. Lovely. Not expected at all. But again, I haven't done this for a while, so I'm easily entertained here. So I think I want to dry this really quick. I'll be right back. Okay, this is still very, very wet. I'm going to let it run a little bit more here, and then I'm going to use my paper towel, which I should just grab the roll. Let me pull my cart over so I can reach it. I have it on a little spinny thing on my cart that has my sewing machine on it. So I'm just going to lay this down and just pat it gently just to sop up some. Oh, that pulled up a lot. That's not what I wanted. That was not what I wanted. Okay, let's try this again. That's an odd spot there. Let's just try this again. Let's get some more yellow on here. Not sure why this isn't coming out better. Maybe you have to squeeze, Cara-Renee. Let's get some more green. That was bad. That's okay. We live and learn, right? I'm gonna get a little spritz again. See if we can get that color back. That's why I do this on 65-pound paper, because I want that to I want it to be able to hold up to all this water. So get a little bit more there in the middle. And I think what I'm going to do is set this aside instead of fussing with it and making a mess. So I'm going to try to move this without moving a lot of that. Look at how much water there is on there. It's okay. It's going to dry beautifully, I promise. So let's get it over there. It's a lot. I'm going to dab up just a little bit off camera here and see if I can. Yeah, so I'm just using my paper towel that I just had in my hands, and I'm just dabbing a little bit just to soak up a little bit more of that water, because there is a lot of water. I probably overdid that. I'm hoping you can hear me because I'm not facing the microphone. Okay, let's let that dry and see what happens. Okay, so our next one is this one. So this one, I think we're going to go in with just, I think I'm not going to worry. I'm not going to do too much with this one either, because I want to retain the original image, but I do want to go in with some yellow and then some purple like I did on the other one. But I think before we do that, we're going to do some texturizing on this one. I hope I'm not losing you guys with hopping between the different pages. I don't normally do that, but I am today. So I think I'm going to take a little bit of my modeling paste and put it down here on my mat like that. And I'm going to mix in a little bit of the transparent iron. This is probably not going to work well. Let's try it. We won't know until we try. So because it's transparent, I don't know how much it's going to colorize that. I'm not sure. Let's see. Oh, nice. It's actually working quite well. I love it. I don't want to see any white, so I'm just really, we're getting kind of a taupey color here, which I'm not a big fan of, so we might put a little bit more. Actually, let me go in with a little bit of the fluid acrylic. This is raw umber fluid acrylic from Golden. Let's see if we get a better result from that. It's kind of a raw color too, but I'm really, what I'm after here is to not have it be white. So that's, goal is being achieved here. Okay. It's very, very weird color in my opinion, but now I don't have, let me move this over so you guys can see, because I'm kind of taking up my mat here. Okay, so on this one, let's go ahead and go in with our kind of our, what do you call this? Beehive? stuff. I don't know. Let's see. Let's put this down here in the corner. Get our little bit of texture paste here. It's just an experiment, guys. If we don't like it, not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. So again, I'm trying to scrape up the excess, like so. I don't care if the those shapes are completely filled in. I like the random look there. That's going to be really pretty because we're going to do a raw umber glaze on this piece. So I'm going to turn this over so that I can get a similar, well, what do we want to do? How about we go this way up at the top, like so. Hoping you guys can see okay. We do have to allow this to dry because if you add wet medium on top of texture, it will soften the texture and it won't retain its beautiful impression. So perfect. I'm going to set that aside. I'm not going to be too long here, so I'm not worried about that drying out at the moment. So I'm just going to wipe this up. It's kind of wasteful, but it's what I'm doing today. Okay, so we're going to set this one aside and see what is next. Let me just show you a close-up. So isn't that going to be epic? And we are going to come back and add some color to this too, so just not at the moment. So let's see how we're doing on this one. I think we're good to kind of give this a zap. So let me dry this really quick. Okay, we do need to let this dry some more because it is wet all the way to the other side. And I want to make sure that it's, for the next step, that it is plenty dry and we don't ruin it. So hold on, let me grab the other one and see how we're doing with our texture. I think we need to zap that really quick. I'm sorry for the back and forth, and then we'll do our glaze so I can show you that. Okay, I think we're good on this one. So again, the way the glaze works is 1 part of paint, so about that much, about nickel size really for this area, and then our matte medium. Make sure you don't grab your clear gesso if you've got that out. That would not work. And then 2 parts of this, about like that. And then I've got a soft brush here. Let me dry it off a little bit. Okay, so we're going to cover this whole page with this raw umber glaze. So I'm just going to turn this way, and I'm being gentle with my hand because I don't want to move any of that texture. I don't want to get it too wet to where it's affected by the wetness of this glaze. So that's what I'm doing there. We're going to leave a lot of this dark because I think this is going to be beautiful in the journal. I think I'm going to use that kit, her Angels kit, that Sweet Pea Curiosities Angel kit for my Christmas, for a Christmas journal. I'm not thinking of Christmas yet, but I purchased it and I love it, so I think that's what we're going to do. So there we go. It doesn't matter if it's even or anything, and I'm going to just get a baby wipe or 2 here. And you want to do this again with a soft hand as well. So you just kind of go over it very gently, and you can see how it's pulling up that color. I don't want to pull it all up. I really want this to look grungy and beautiful, and we're getting that effect here. And that's all we're doing to this page. Simple, simple way to spice up a page that is more focused on background. So there she is. Okay, that is the glaze. So you can see, we can still see some of the white of that texture paste, but it's pushed back, it's muted, it's grungy. And actually we've got this over here that's a little bit too white for my liking. So let's just do that again there. I don't want it to be too white. So this time I'm going to take my baby white, but I'm just going to kind of pounce a little bit because that's going to help to not remove too much of that. And then if you just take that color that you just pulled and just dab everywhere else, you kind of use that color up and you get this kind of splotchy look. So there we go. That is done. So beautiful. Okay. There she is. So let's come back to this lady. I may have to pause here and dry again because it's still damp. So I'm going to be right back with you in a moment. Okay, I did just remember that we need to do some texturizing on this, because if we don't, it's not going to really, the raw umber glaze is not going to really have, it's not going to have that pop that we want, that I want. So I'm going to pull this stencil over and we're going to do some modeling paste, but we're not going to colorize it. We're just going to do it straight out of the jar because our excuse me, you guys, the raw umber glaze is going to address that. So, and I want to make sure this is nice and dry. It is still cool to the touch. So I'm going to come up here in this corner and get some on there. I'm going to get a little bit more on my knife because I am covering a bigger area here. So that, I think that stencil is a little bit, it's got a flaw in it from use, so it caught there. So we're going to probably get some of that texture underneath the stencil, but that's okay. Just getting that excess off, as I mentioned. This is where we have the tear in the stencil. It's not a designer issue, it's a usage issue. I still love that, even though there's some irregularities and some bleed. It's absolutely beautiful. So we're going to come over and we're going to do that in this lower corner as well. So I'm going to get more modeling paste. And again, I'm holding this up because I don't necessarily want to get texture paste that's underneath on this other side in places where I don't necessarily want it. So I'm going to try to line that up as well. Give this a little bit of some beauty. One of my favorite stencils from her line. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Let's lift that gently. You do want to kind of lift slowly. That kind of controls those peaks as well. Oh, that is gorgeous. Okay, but again, we have our threes, so it doesn't necessarily mean we need to use this stencil again, but I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to grab the, let's grab this one that we didn't use already and put a little bit of this honeycomb, that's what it's called. Oh my goodness. So I hope that you guys will keep checking back, because I am going to be doing more and more mixed media in my journals because I love it, and it's part of the reason why I entered junk journaling world, because I could incorporate watercolor, all the things I love, watercolor mixed media into this art. So that is amazing. So I'm going to let you go here for a little bit. I'll come back when this is dry and when we're ready to move on. Okay, I think we're ready for our next step on this one. So I wanted to add some color to this. I want to add some yellow and some purple. We do need to do that in stages because yellow and purple will make mud. They'll make a dark, yucky color. So when they're opposite on the color wheel, they're called complementary colors, meaning if you use them in the same project, they're going to complement one another. But if you mix them, they're going to make yucky. So that's why I'm going to do the yellow first, and I'm going to dry it and come in with some purple. So here we go. So I'm going to go straight in with the ink here, or the paint, rather than water at this point. So I think I got way too much water on that other one. So I'm just going to put it here and there, and I'm just going to get a little bit of water here. A lot less than I was working with before. So just barely getting that wet. And then I think I'm going to use my baby wipe to kind of move it around a little bit. That way I'm controlling the moisture a little bit better than I did before. The other option is to like put this on your mat and then just kind of tap into it with your baby wipe or paper towel. I find that the baby wipe works better. So, oh, I love that. So let's get a little bit more yellow here. That's working well. I should have done that on the other one. I know better too. So there we go. Keep going. I love that. That's just perfect. So we're going to go ahead and dry this really quick. Okay, that should be good. I apologize. I just realized that the sun was coming in really strong through the window, so I did shut the shade. So just really subtle yellow color. It looks a little bit lighter on camera than I'm seeing in person. So we're going to go in. That's pretty dry, so we're going to go in with some of the dioxazine purple. This is a very, very, very vibrant color, so be cautious when you use it. It's super staining and very, 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 very vibrant. I'm going to kind of try to get over here as well. And I think I want it to even get in some of this texture. And I'm going to get a little bit of water going on here, just a little bit, just to help me move that. You have to move quickly with the dioxazine purple because it is, again, very staining right at the onset. So I'm just going to dab. Oh, that's really pretty up there in that texture. Texture is not dry. I can tell that right now. I tend to be impatient when it comes to waiting for this stuff to dry, so I'm going to give that another spritz and see if I can help move that purple a little bit. It's very, very hard to move once it starts setting. Oh, that's better. Yeah, I like that. Maybe that texture's okay. It might have just been my finger sense here. I love that. I think that's just enough. So I'm going to go ahead and set this aside just to naturally dry so that we can work on our last paper a little bit. So there's a close-up. We are also going to do a raw umber glaze. And so let me pause here a second, because you guys might be wondering, well, could I use oxide inks? Could I use distress inks? Could I use a water reactive medium? Yes, you can, but you have to be mindful that if you're going to come in and do the glazing process like I'm doing, or put texture on top of that, you're going to disturb that color and it's going to move. Okay, so when I do my raw umber glaze, if this is completely dry, that glaze is not going to move any of this color. It's going to stay where it is because it's acrylic. So it's a permanent acrylic. So I'm going to set that aside here. And we're going to pull this over. This is also pretty good, I think. So let me... You know what, I'm going to zap this again. I just want to make sure it's cool to the touch. So I'm going to zap it again because we're going to do our raw umber glaze on this and be done with this page completely. So I'll be right back. Okay, I feel safe to move on. It's not a big deal if any of that softens. It just creates a little bit of a different look. So we're going to get our glaze out again. I'm going to try to move this over a little bit so that you guys can see better. Again, we're going to do 1 part paint. Oh, I didn't cap that. I need to cap that. And our matte medium. 2 parts matte medium. About like that. Doing a little bit better not wasting this. Usually I put out way too much and then I don't use it. So, okay, here we go. So we're going to go over the whole surface. Very light touch. I'm using a very soft brush. So I don't want to disturb that texture if I can help it. Like so. Feels like that might be moving a little bit, that texture, but again, not a huge deal. And the way I can tell is the way that it's not accepting the glaze on top is an indicator. So I'm going to get my wipes again, and I'm going to, so it looks like a hot mess, right? But I'm going to focus on the center so you can really see the effects here. So I'm going to just rub. See how I'm getting that color back? Okay, and then in the other areas I'm going to do more of a patting because I don't want to remove all that dark. I want that to remain. So I'm just going to be very gentle, but I wanted to bring that color back in. Another baby wipe. Oh, this is so cool. And so see how we've texturized, or we've colorized that texture without colorizing the texture paste by doing the glaze. So I love it. I'm going to try to wipe up a little bit more of that color, see if I can bring a pop of that color back here and there. So you can see I'm dabbing and I'm able to pull that bright color back out of the background. I always love this effect. So there we go. So that is our other page. Look at that. Look at it. We got some, where was I seeing that? My camera's backwards, so it's hard for me to see. I had some streaky looks. So let me see if I can see that again. Where I didn't like it. Oh, down here. And it's just brush marks that I don't care for. So there we go. So that is that. Gorgeousness. That's going to be a beautiful something. I'm not sure yet what. I like that we chose to leave this more open in terms of texture because we really want to see that bee because it's for the bee journal. So let's bring this over and see where we're at. So I'm going to zap that as well really quick, and then we're going to go in with a glaze on this, and then we'll be done for the day. Okay. So we're going to mix up a little bit more glaze here. I don't think I have enough on my table, but we don't need very much. So you can use just craft acrylic for your paint base. You might just have to play around a little bit more with the ratio of paint to the matte medium because the acrylic paint is thicker than this fluid acrylic. So again, just going over the whole page. I almost don't have enough here. Let's see if we can get the last bit here and not have to mix anymore. I think we'll be good. Okay. So again, the magic. This is pure magic in my opinion. So I'm going to wipe from the center out. Oh, this one's beautiful. This one is beautiful. It's really dark and grungy, which I like. I'm just patting now because I don't want to disturb that texture any more than I have to. So I just do want to lighten some things up a little bit. wipe up there. And you have a little bit, one of the properties of the glaze is that it extends the working properties of your acrylics. So that's why we paint this on, and we've got a little bit of time here to just kind of play around with that color and lift it where we want to lift it, like there and there. Let's go down and show you, even in these places that are more dark, we still have the ability to affect that color. See if we can bring out some more over here. I don't know if we can. Yep, there's the purple. I wish I had slowed down to show you that, guys. I'm sorry. We'll be doing more of this, so I hope that you'll tune in again. So let me lift that up and show you a close-up. So we see the purple and we see the yellow. Gorgeous. I do like to come back in and put some stamping on top of the texture. I'll probably do that off camera. But that is it for today, guys. I hope that you enjoyed. I'm hoping that I can trim down the video so it's not so long, but you can obviously in the gears in the YouTube, you can speed me up to 1.5 times the normal speed, and I don't sound horrible. So please feel free to do that. No offense taken at all. I will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.